The shuttle's metal hull groaned as it entered the atmosphere of an uncharted world. Private James Rowan gripped the control handles with white-knuckled focus, sweat dripping from his forehead despite the cool air circulating through his helmet. His transport had been shot down during a skirmish with raiders, and the planet below had not been on any of the star maps he knew. When the shuttle finally crash-landed in a thicket of black-barked trees, James staggered out, coughing against the acrid smoke. He had supplies for 3 days, maybe 4, if he rationed carefully. His only hope was to signal for rescue, but the thick atmosphere scrambled transmissions. Alone, stranded, and armed with nothing but his survival kit and his wits, James set about building shelter. He hadn't expected company. That night, while tending a small fire within the hollow of a broken tree, James heard the snap of branches. His hand went to his sidearm instantly, muscles tense. Emerging from the shadows was a tiny figure, half his height, delicate, and glowing faintly with a bioluminescent sheen across her skin. Her wide amber eyes locked onto him, trembling with fear. She pointed a stick at him like it was a spear and squeaked in a voice that was high and melodic, "Don't eat me." James blinked, lowering his weapon slightly.
Eat you? What? No.
I don't eat people. The little alien girl's ridged ears twitched as she tilted her head. You are human, she whispered, almost like an accusation. The stories say you consume what you conquer. They said you'd eat me. For a long moment, James could only stare. He had known other species fear humanity. Our history of wars and survival left scars across the galaxy, but seeing it so raw, in the eyes of someone so small and fragile, was a punch to the gut. Instead of answering with words, he reached into his ration pack and pulled out a sealed bar. He unwrapped it slowly, letting her see, then took a bite.
See?
Rations, not aliens. The girl's wide eyes flicked between him and the bar. Slowly, trembling, she lowered her stick. That was the beginning. Middle. Her name was Lyrie. She was from a subterranean village hidden beneath the black forests. Her people had been forced to stay underground for generations after rumors spread of monsters above, most of those monsters being humans in warships who had once raided the surface for resources. Lyrie had been gathering glowing fungi when she saw the sky fire of James's shuttle crashing. Curiosity had drawn her closer, but fear of old stories filled her with dread. Over the next few days, James noticed Lyrie lurking nearby whenever he cooked meals or repaired equipment. He shared food with her, sometimes half, sometimes more than half, until her suspicion gave way to something stranger, trust. One night, as she sat by his fire with her knees pulled to her chest, Lyrie finally asked, "Why didn't you eat me when you had the chance?" James chuckled. "Because that's not who I am. That's not what humans are anymore. Maybe some were cruel once, but we're different now." He paused, then added, "And besides, you're my friend." The words seemed to hit her harder than anything else. Her little bioluminescent cheeks glowed brighter, like a blush. "Friend," she repeated softly, as if testing the word for the first time. But survival was not just about bonding. The planet was dangerous. At night, creatures prowled, long-limbed predators with too many eyes and teeth that glistened like obsidian. Twice, James had to fight them off, using his rifle sparingly to conserve power. Lyrie, though small, was clever. She showed him plants that numbed pain, mosses that sealed wounds, and strange roots that could burn hotter than wood. Together, they kept each other alive. One evening, as the skies lit with strange auroras, Lyrie confided in him the truth. Her people believed humans were demons in flesh, tall, voracious, unstoppable. "If they find out I sit with you, eat with you, they will exile me," she whispered. "They will say I am already eaten." James felt a knot tighten in his chest. Then they don't know the truth. Maybe one day you can show them. Her eyes lifted, wide and shimmering. Would you come with me? To my village? So they see for themselves. He hesitated. He had a beacon to fix, a rescue to wait for. But when he looked at her, so small, so earnest, he found himself nodding. All right, Lyrie. Let's show them. Climax. The descent into the underground city was breathtaking. Crystalline walls pulsed with bioluminescence, vast caverns stretched wider than any cathedral, and thousands of her people, miniature, glowing beings like her, watched in tense silence as Lyrie walked proudly with James at her side. But fear spreads quickly. Gasps turned to shouts, shouts to panic. Elders rushed forward, their spines ridged with age, demanding Lyrie step away. He will consume us, one roared. He is death in flesh, cried another. James stood still, letting their words wash over him. He could see Lyrie trembling, but she held her ground. No, she said, her voice surprisingly firm. He saved me. He shared his food. He fought the shadow beasts when I could not. He is not what the stories say. The council was unmoved. They decreed that if James was truly not a predator, he would prove it by facing the deep terror, the largest and most feared beast of their underworld. None had ever bested it. Most never returned. James wanted to refuse. He was only human, stranded, with limited ammo and dwindling strength. But then he saw Lyrie's tearful eyes, pleading without words. And something inside him hardened. I'll face it, he said quietly. The chamber of the deep terror was suffocating with heat and shadows. The beast emerged with a screech that rattled the cavern walls, towering, armored, its mouth a nightmare of fangs. James fought like never before. His rifle blast scorched the creature's hide, but barely slowed it. He rolled, ducked, used every trick of terrain, his heart pounding. At the last moment, when the beast lunged, Lyrie cried out from the edge of the cavern, tossing him a bundle of glowing roots, the kind that burned hotter than fire. James caught them, jammed them into the beast's gaping maw, and shot them point-blank. The explosion shook the cavern. The monster collapsed, smoke billowing from its mouth. Silence followed. When James staggered back into the village, bruised and exhausted but alive, the people stared in awe. He had not devoured. He had protected. Ending. From that day, the old stories began to shift. The elders, though reluctant, could not deny what they had seen. Lyrie stood beside James, declaring boldly, "The human did not eat me. He saved us. Perhaps it is time to learn again." James stayed until his beacon finally worked and rescue arrived. As the human shuttle descended, Lyrie clutched his hand with her tiny, glowing fingers. "Will you leave and never return?" she asked softly. James crouched to meet her eyes. "No matter where I go, Lyrie, I'll never forget you. You taught me that even the smallest voice can change the loudest stories." Her eyes shimmered with hope. "Then maybe one day you will return as my friend again." James smiled, squeezing her hand before stepping onto the shuttle. As it lifted into the stars, he looked down at the glowing girl who had once feared he'd eat her, now smiling up at him as if she held the universe in her hands. And for the first time since the crash, James realized that sometimes survival wasn't just about enduring. Sometimes it was about changing the story itself.